strapped in tight, ready, V8 symphony humming, tires screeching, engine screaming, speed demons coming. Gasoline guzzling, straight moving, track bruising, in the premium stock car, never losing. Pit crew wizards, quick as wizards, slick precision. Seconds matter, clock ticking, tight decisions. Drafting close, slingshot ghost, high speed ballet. Sipping victory, toasted champ, champagne spray. Fast lanes, checkered flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near. Grid start, hearts pound seconds before eruption. Adrenaline and steel, the perfect conjunction. Lap after lap, sweat drips, thighs are fogging. Fame and glory wait for no one's dogging. Tunnel vision, apex hunting, blind to the herd. Opponents tailgating, pace firing absurd. Finally tuned monster, horsepower XL. Steering wheels grip like the gates to hell. Fast lanes, checkered flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near.
Hey guys, my name is Harley with Prestige Enterprises. Not only are we a proud sponsor of the Powerhouse Motorsports, we're also proud to be one of the sponsors for Premier Stock Car Racing League. We provide our services to over 70% of the US, and we have a wide range of services, but our main focuses are custom homes, barn doors and shops, and commercial development. But it doesn't stop there. So pull out your phones and use this QR code on your screen to take a quick look at our website. We can't wait to make your dreams come true. Now that we have helped pay some bills, let's throw it back to you, Aaron.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in. As we get ready to rock and roll, we get ready to rumble here this evening. It is the Legacy Atlanta Motor Speedway here this evening for our third playoff race of the season for the Premium Stock Car Racing League. And now, that's got huge and major playoff implications here this evening, as tonight we will eliminate, unfortunately, I believe 4 drivers will be eliminated from the playoffs here today. So 4 drivers, they'll get the axe. They will be out of the playoffs, but for all the other drivers, they will be able to advance. They'll be able to move on and go in to the next round here of the playoffs. So that is a big thing here to be one of those drivers advancing into the show. Excuse me there quickly, had to cough as we get ready to set these drivers loose. Practice just coming to a close. That means qualifying about to get underway, where drivers are going to try to lay down their quick time. Should have laid down a good lap out there on the speedway, trying to set up their day here this evening. And sometimes having a good qualifying position can lead to having a great finish out there on the racetrack. But we're going to see a lot of different strategy being played here this evening. A lot of drivers are going to try to go for, not only try to get for those stage points, but also trying to earn a good finish here. And for some of those drivers that are on the outside looking in of the playoffs, the points are going to be oh so desperate here this evening. You're going to try to get every single point you can and potentially even have to try to win this race to advance into that next round. So they're going to be on their tippy toes lap after lap after lap, just trying to make sure that they can put themselves into a position to potentially transfer through and into the next round of our playoffs. And it's going to get very intense here. Drivers are going to get very wild out there on the racetrack, trying to make sure that they don't make any mistakes, that they don't slip up and have an issue out there on the racetrack. Is after last week's race at Daytona International Speedway at the road course, It's Applegate who has the most points here. He's sitting comfy right now. Same with Brian Underwood. Dylan Carrier, he's sitting pretty comfy as well out there on the racetrack. But we look a little farther down here. Actually, I guess there's 12 drivers that are in the show. I'm not sure how many get eliminated here tonight. I thought it was 16, then 4 and 4 and 4, but I do believe it's 12, maybe 3 drivers get eliminated here tonight, as we do have, I do believe, 1, 2, 3 elimination races down to our final 5. So I'm not sure how this is going to work out or how many drivers will get eliminated here tonight, but I know Ben Gleason is unfortunately on the bottom side of it, as I do believe top 10 transfer through. So I think 2 drivers get eliminated here tonight. And for Ben Gleason, he's one of them. Landon Burbage, he's another one on the outside looking in here this evening. For Danny White, he's right there on the bubble. He's a point behind Jonathan Gaston, but they are both right there, and potentially, one bad race, a couple bad stages, and Landon Burbage or Ben Gleason could jump up and knock them out of the playoffs here this evening. So it's going to be tight right down to the checkered flag here, as I do believe, between a couple of these guys, man, there's not a lot of points there, 10, 14 points. You can make that up through stages in a quick hurry. So we'll have to keep an eye on those drivers and see how they're going to be able to navigate and run this race here tonight, as we'll get them all ready to rock and roll as qualifying still underway. Drivers still laying down some great lap times out there on the racetrack. We do see Wyatt Mickelson. He's jumping out there in that beautiful HendrickCars.com ride. William Connolly, he jumps up and into 8th. Jordan Hand now into 5th out there on the Speedway. So he's up inside the top 5 as Grant Applegate right now with the quick time here in qualifying. Landon Burbage, one of those bubble drivers that we were talking about, qualified right now in position number 2. Kenneth Cheney, Brian Underwood, Jordan Hand, our top 5 with Wyatt Mickelson, Jonathan Gaston, William Connolly, Melvin Brenger, and Dylan Carrier right now our top 10 out there on the racetrack. Ryan Haller just getting out there. We do see that Parts Plus ride, the 99. He jumps up into that 9th position. Unfortunately, that's going to move Dylan Carrier outside our top 10 here for the start of this race. Benjamin Romano, he jumps out there onto the racetrack. The beautiful Napa Auto Parts number 9 ride out there on the racetrack, looking to lay down a great lap time. Same with Josh Crider, as Crider slides out there onto the Speedway as well. Josh ready to rock and roll. He is ready to go to battle. We'll see where he can jump up to here this evening. It's Crider looking for a great start. Same with Brookover, Romano. All these drivers trying to get a great start here this afternoon as Crider jumps up into position number 12 there on his first lap. For Benjamin Romano, he is back in 17th right now. Unfortunately, that is the slowest lap time out there out of any of these drivers right now. But on his second lap, he's hoping to find a little extra speed, a little extra gear there, and hoping to move forward a little farther in this chart and try to put himself into a good spot to start here this evening, as we do see Nathan Brookover and the Nutter Butter Oreo Run jumping out there onto the racetrack as Crider looks like Crider's going to get a better second lap, and Crider jumps up into 3rd. Great lap right there for the Energizer Rubbered Up Productions number 5 ride as he jumps up into position number 3. Brookover getting ready here. He's looking to try to lay down a great lap time, as we did see Benjamin Romano jump up into 14th, so he was able to gain at least a few spots, as right behind him is Aiden Lucas. Aiden way back in 15th. Not the start we figured for the number 20 ride. We'll have to wait and see what Aiden can do here this evening, as all the 8 ride's going to get slow on the racetrack, and he's not even going to make it down across the line here, so he's not even going to get a lap in. Oh man, tough break right there for Nathan Brookover, not being able to get that lap in, and qualifying about to come to a close here, as we're going to jump in and get a quick word in here and a little bit of our national anthem. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get on your feet, remove your hat, as we are going to get our national anthem here, presented to you by Landon Burbage.
Let's not waste.
righty, shout out there to Landon Burbage coming in with our national anthem here this evening as we're going to get ready to go green flag racing here in just a few more moments. But first, an opening command here from our command officer, Lonnie Crider. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for Lonnie as we're going to get the opening command here this evening.
Let's not waste any time, guys. Start those engines and let's go racing.
Alrighty, not wasting any time here this afternoon, says Lonnie Crider, and we are about to go green flag racing here this evening as each and every one of these drivers ready to go to battle, ready to duke it out here this evening in the Premium Stock Car Racing League. As our first elimination race about to get underway, drivers sliding out there and starting to roll out on the racetrack. Here is 167 laps of racing action here today. Now, we've seen this racetrack many times in the past. It can be either really good or it can be very tough for drivers. So we'll have to wait and see who can figure it out, who can keep themselves out of trouble and put themselves into a winning position. As Applegate will start in the pole position as Landon Burbage there to his outside. Then we see that number 5 rider, Josh Crider, will start in position number 3. The NJP Designs number 80 rider, Kenneth Cheney, will start there in 4th. Brian Underwood back there in 5th with Jordan Hand sitting in position number 6. And we see Wyatt Mickelson, Jonathan Gaston, the 25 of William Connolly, and Ryan Haller rounding out our top 10. Melvin Brangur, the 31 of Dylan Carrier back there in 12th with Beryl Robbins, Benjamin Romano, Aiden Lucas, Danny White, Jordan Crider, Noah Blackwell, Nathan Brookover, James Efa, and Michael Ponder Jr. bringing up the rear of the field in the AC Delco number 3 machine. As here we go, ladies and gentlemen, as we're going to end all the anticipation with our feature presentation. And they're already going 3 wide here at the front of the field. 3 wide here on the opening corner, down in through corner number 1 and out of 2. Oh, baby, it's getting tight here already. And there's a big run for that 2 right of Landon Burbage. Burbage able to use that momentum, carrying the back straightaway speed that he was looking for, and he will consume the early race lead. So the Prince is towing number 2 ride now out in front with Applegate back there in 2nd. Crider right there in 3rd as we're going to take a look back here at the restart. We had a couple of drivers a little deeper in the field get off to a rough start here, and unfortunately did not really fire off too well. There was a couple cats that all of a sudden kind of got log jammed up here on the restart. Looked like someone maybe missed a shift. There you go. You see the 89 right there of Melvin Brangruer. Brangruer all of a sudden just gets super sideways there. Looks like he spins the tires here on the initial start. Let's take another look at it here. Here we go. Here's the slide right there. There's the tires going out and around on him. A little contact for the 76, a little contact for the 9. Down through the grass there for that 76 machine, as unfortunate contact there, and already a little damage for Farrell Robbins, a little damage for the 89 ride, and a little bit of contact there as we were instantly 3 wide there at the front of the field. And Landon Burbage, now that he's got that clean air, a little open track here in front of him, he's starting to try to run away with this one. Last time around, laid down the quickest lap of this race, and Burbage out in front trying to continue to grow that gap here between himself and Applegate. Applegate, though, trying to stick right there with him. Applegate only a couple car lengths back here, about 0.3 of a second off the back bumper of our race leader. Josh Crider rolls there in 3rd. Kenneth Cheney back in 4th, and Jordan Hand now up inside the top 5 here as he was able to navigate his way around Brian Underwood. So Underwood back to 6, and here comes that Phoenix Esports number 31 ride. That is that Premier Racing Setups NJP Designs machine, the 31 of Dylan Carrier. Carrier early in this race up 5 positions already. He started all the way back in 12th, now finds himself in position number 7. Jonathan Gaston right there behind him in that beautiful Gaston's iRacing graphics ride as he rolls there in 8th. Wyatt Mickelson back in 9th, and the 25 of Connolly rolls there in 10th. Benjamin Romano and Ryan Haller are top 12, as then we see the 18 right, Noah Blackwell, a little bit of a gap there between himself and our 12th place driver, as Blackwell, he's also up 5 spots on the racetrack here. A couple early movers up and through the field, and for the 18, he now finds himself in 13th on the Speedway. He's got Farrell Robbins, one of those drivers that got contact there on that opening start of this race. He rolls there in 14th with Danny White. James Efa there behind him. And then we see Aiden Lucas way back here in 17th. Now, this is very abnormal for the 20 ride of Aiden Lucas to be this deep in the field. For the Tracker Boats, NJP Designs, Bass Pro Shops ride. Usually we see him battling up inside the top 5, top 10 for majority of these races, but early on here this evening, he's back in 17th, and he's actually lost a couple spots since the start of this race. We'll have to wait and see if Aiden can find another gear and maybe try to run some strategy and try to get him to track position and back up towards the front of the field where we're usually used to seeing this 20 ride. As Jordan Crider right there behind him in the 18th position with Nathan Brookover, Michael Ponder Jr., and Melvin Brengbrewer back there in 21st, as he was the driver that initially spun the tires on that start. Has a little bit of damage there to the 89 ride. Doesn't look like too much damage though, and he rolls at the back of the pack right now. As out in front, we didn't see a pass for the race lead. Applegate able to work himself back around that 2 ride of Landon Burbage. So Burbage will slide back into second in that number 2 machine as Josh Crider try to hunt them down, but a bit of a gap already here between our top 2 and our 3rd place driver out there on the racetrack. You see these two battling. They're only a couple car lengths, a couple tenths between them, but 2 seconds back from Applegate. We do see Josh Crider in this 80 ride of Kenneth Cheney, so they are already about 2 seconds behind our race leader now. That could be strategy, could be the game plan for this evening as we continue to see Dylan Carrier work his way up through the field. As Dylan now up 7 positions, rolling in that 5th spot on the racetrack, the newest driver to the top 5 here this evening. And Carrier looks like he's not done yet. He's quickly reeling in this 80 ride again of Cheney, and now I don't know if he's using the tires up here and burning them up early on in this race, and everyone else maybe try to play it a little bit safer, maybe trying to use that cruise control for a little while here and just try to be patient and hope that the tires continue to fall off, and those drivers that are hard on the throttle early on could pay that price later in the run. But we'll have to wait and see if there's a caution flag or an opportunity here where things can get a little bit more balanced out for that 31 ride, as he's definitely been on the throttle here and rolling through the field and picking these guys off in a quick hurry as Applegate continues to lead the way, but Landon Burbage right there with them, man. Only a car length between our top 2 cats out there on the racetrack, and man, oh man, they are having a blast out there, man. Just running some absolutely wicked lap times, and knowing that they got a bit of a gap between themselves and that 3rd place drivers. You can see that gap, about 15-20 car lengths there, and that's at least maybe a mistake, and you can still let your car keep on rolling and probably not get past there by the 3rd place driver for Applegate and Landon Burbage. And we're starting to see Landon starting to move around a little bit more, starting to try to figure out some different lines, some different entry points and exit points here on the racetrack, is you can't run right where that leader is, and the ones that you're looking for potentially could put him back out in front. Here he goes. He's right to the back bumper now of Applegate. He'll jump down to the inside into corner number 3. Down low, looking to try to take this race lead away from the 57, but 57 ride and Applegate in a great run there through 3 and 4. He'll be able to keep his foot in the throttle, continue to hold that 2 ride back there at bay, and stay out in front. Now Landon Burbage will have to try to reel him back in once again, as we do see Kenneth Cheney able to make his move around Josh Crider. Crider slides back into 4th. Quickly right there on the back bumper. We're starting to see these drivers get a little bit more log jammed, and the pace already falling off quite a bit here for these competitors. Last time around, our race leaders laid down a 33.2 second lap time. When we first started this race, we were running 31.3s, and oh, look out, Dylan Carrier! Carrier having some issues up into the outside fence. Heavy damage here for the 31 ride. No caution flag. We keep it clean and green, and all of a sudden he is sliding backwards in a quick hurry. Big hit right there for him. We also saw Applegate have some issues here. He's able to keep the race lead, but he gets a piece of the wall right there. Goes down through the grass. Look at that car up in the air right there. My gosh. You got some pretty good air there out of this 57 ride. Let's see if we can take another look at it here, get a little close up and see the contact. There's the hit into the wall, then down through the grass, and whoo, maybe a little hop, skip, and a jump down through the infield, and virtually at the same time as that was happening, that's where we see issues for Dylan Carrier. Carrier rolling the outside lane, and unfortunately it looks like he's going to get up a little too far himself. He's going to tank that wall. comes down, tanks the 11 right to Jordan Hand, then back up into the fence a couple more times here. Some pretty heavy right front damage there, right rear damage for that 31 right now. Luckily, everyone else able to avoid him and not run into the back end of that Phoenix Esports machine and cause even more carnage as he continues to slide farther and farther back. Sits in that 16th position. He's just hoping and praying that he sees a caution flag and an opportunity for him to come down pit road and get this car repaired and try to be a little bit of a saving grace out there for him this afternoon. But right now, no yellow flags out there on the racetrack, and everyone focused on rolling here on the speedways. Now Aiden Lucas goes down to his inside as we already saw James Efa work himself around that 31 machine. Now you see Melvin Wrangler right there on his back bumper, try to figure out a way to get around him. Same with the 8 right at Nathan Brookover, not too far back there as well as Dylan Carrier continues to slide to the rear. Michael Ponder Jr. a little farther back there in that AC Delco number 3 machine as he rolls back in 21st. As out in front, it's Grant Applegate. Applegate continuing to lead the way here this evening, and we're already 16 laps into this race, 17 the next time by the start finish line. So drivers are clicking these laps off in a pretty good pace here, and this is going to be 150 laps left to go. So down across the line, 150 laps still left in this race. So a lot of time for drivers that ran into issues or had problems early. They're going to get those repairs, get some fixes, and try to hope and see if they can continue to keep on battling back here this evening and hoping not to go a lap down. But for Dylan Carrier, with that damage, he is definitely going to be at risk of potentially going a lap down out there on the racetrack. He's now about 11 seconds behind our race leaders, now falling back into position number 20. And as he rolls down the back straightaway into corner number 3, our race leaders are rolling down across the start finish line, so almost about half a lap down already. And if that car continues to struggle, continues to find more problems, he could quickly become the first driver a lap down here this evening. As Applegate here starting to pull away from that 2 right of Landon Burbage, and you do see that 80 machine of Kenneth Cheney. Cheney, he's been running some pretty solid lap times out there, and he has been inching closer and closer to our top 2 competitors here. Josh Crider right there, as well as Jordan Hand, Ryan Underwood there in 6 in that 6 ride. Willie Connolly back up into 7th. Wyatt Mickelson there in 8th, trying to get this HendrickCars.com number 10 ride back up to where he started this race. Benjamin Romano there in 9th, and Jonathan Gaston rounding out our top 10 on the racetrack is Noah Blackwell there in 11th. Beryl Robbins, Jordan Crider, good battle right here. Crider works himself underneath the Ryan Haller. Haller trying to keep that 99 right, point in the right direction and keep on rolling. And now he'll have the 79 of Danny White get down to his inside. Danny looking to try to take advantage of a bit of a struggling 99 right now out there on the racetrack, and quickly down to his inside, looking to try to take position number 14 away from him. Aiden Lucas right there behind him as well. Aiden still haven't really seen this 20 ride come to life yet and start to drive his way up towards the front of the field. So for Aiden right now, he's just trying to hang on and keep this car in one piece and hoping to get some changes, maybe trying to find a little extra gear, or maybe just trying to play that strategy game, knowing that this is going to be a bit of a long run and could potentially drive up through the field here later in this race by just taking it easy, keeping those tires underneath him, not trying to burn things up here this evening. We'll get them rolling out there on the racetrack. We'll get ready to keep on seeing these drivers battle towards the front as we will see stage number 1 come to a close at the completion of lap number 40. So the completion of lap number 40, we will hand out 3 points. More opportunities for drivers to try to advance themselves into the next round of the playoffs. That will not be a stage break, though. We will not see a caution flag for the stage break there at lap number 40. Our first actual stage break where the caution flag will come out will be lap number 80. That's when stage number 2 comes to a close. There we will have a guaranteed yellow flag out there on the racetrack. So for these drivers, potentially, having a little premonition for a driver like Aiden Lucas, or maybe some of these other cats a little deeper in the field here, maybe they know that there's something going on. Maybe they know there's going to be a long green flag run, and we may not see that yellow flag until the end of stage number 2. And if that's the case, having better tires later in this race will put you up and into victory lane as we're starting to see this 20 ride just continue to keep pace with the lap times that he started to run this race with, and everyone else starting to run into more and more inches, starting to slide farther and farther back and run an even slower lap time. So we'll have to wait and see if Aiden can and keep on working his way closer and closer to the front of the field as he's now up into the 13th position. And for the first time here today, he's up and into the positive positions game. As Grant Applegate continues to lead the way, Applegate out in front as tire fall off definitely going to be a huge subject here this evening for all of these drivers. As already here, only 24 laps into this race down across the line, we have seen tire fall off probably around that 2-second marker already. 2 seconds, even sometimes over 2 seconds, as some drivers running more into the 34-second area. So the tire fall off has been affecting these cats in a major way. And as we continue to run these laps, we're going to see that tire fall off continue to keep on building more and more and more. And if that fuel can get them to the end of the stage, I think they're all going to try to hang on there till after lap number 40, then come down pit road, get their first pit stop in, and they're hoping not to have to do it during the green flag conditions, but so far we've been using green, and that's exactly the way it looks. It may play out. Applegate out in front. It's Kenneth Cheney now into second as he's able to work himself around that 2 right of Landon Burbage. Burbage slides back into position number 3 with Josh Crider is now the 6th right of Brian Underwood battling door to door here for position number 4. Underwood down low, the Rubbered Up Productions number 5 right there to his outside. Jordan Hand right there behind him, sniffing a top 5 run out of that 11 right, as he knows that if he can make a move around either his teammate in the 6 or around this 5 right of Josh Crider, he can move himself up inside the top 5 where he picks up very valuable stage points here in his efforts to try to advance into the next round of the playoffs. Connolly there in 7th with Wyatt Nicholson, Jonathan Gaston, and Benjamin Romano rounding out our top 10 out there on the racetrack. Noah Blackwell there in 11th with Aiden Lucas now into 12th here. So Aiden continuing to pick him off and keep on moving his way back up towards the front of the field. And we'll see if he can keep that pace up and keep on picking him off and sliding himself back up inside the top 10. Applegate there in the top spot, continuing to just run some great lap times, and unfortunately for some of these drivers, they are potentially about to go a lap or multiple laps down, as we did see Ryan Haller. Haller ended up running into some problems here. Let's take a look back here. This was lap number 23. I already see this 99 ride up and into the outside fence. Unfortunately, it looks like he just gets out of 4 a little too far. Gets up into the wall, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Pretty solid contact there for that Parts Plus 99 ride. He slides down into the infield, and then looks like he's just going to take this car right down pit road here in a second or two, as he knows this car's got some pretty heavy damage on it. Unfortunately for the 99 ride, not the way he wanted things to go here this evening, and he is able to keep that car rolling, though, keep it out of trouble and not bring the caution flag out, so a blessing right there. But unfortunately, early in this race, Haller does find himself as the first car a lap down out there on the racetrack, and now potentially even going to go 2 laps down. We'll have to keep an eye on that as on rolling back there behind our third place driver here, Landon Burbage, is actually falls back a couple more spots here, and for Haller, he's now even farther back behind the race leader. I thought maybe if he had those fresher tires on the car, maybe he'd be able to run some laps and race his way back onto the lead lap, but I think it's still pretty early in this race to want to try to burn up a set of tires out there on the racetrack, even though everyone's struggling, everyone's trying to hang on to their rides, and the tires continue to get worse and worse and worse here at Legacy Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's going to be very interesting to see how the tire fall off and how the tire strategy will affect these drivers, as you don't want to use the tires up too much. You want to try to keep it set for maybe late in this race to maybe potentially put yourself into victory lane here. So trying to play that strategy game, trying to save some tires, trying to save that fuel, and trying to set yourself up for the later game is definitely going to be the name of the game here this evening. And whoever's got that extra set late in this race and puts them on could be potentially up and in victory lane here this evening. And for one of those drivers that is on the outside of the playoffs looking in, definitely something that they're going to want to worry about, maybe something that they'll think about trying to do here throughout this race. If you take a look back, we do see 31 right at Dylan Carrier. Carrier able to keep on hanging on here even after getting into the wall here himself. He is now 22 seconds behind our race leader. Still has that heavy right side damage on the 31 machine, but keeps on trucking out there on the Speedway and not looking to slow down one little bit, and hoping to see a caution flag before this stage comes to a close, and before we see our race leaders catch up to his back bumper as he's just trying to stay on the lead lap. Luckily enough, even if he does go a lap down, there won't be very many drivers a lap down with him here, as you do see Carrier finally making that hard left-hand turn. He will head down pit side here himself. So Carrier down pit road, and that will slide him all the way back into position number 20 now, as there goes Michael Ponder Jr. around him, our 19th place driver now out on the racetrack, and he's not too far away from potentially going a lap down here himself as Applegate virtually right here on here, getting ready to try to make that move with that number 3 machine a lap down out there on the Speedway, as you see them down the back stretch here in this one. The good wrench AC Delco number 3 ride rolling there in position number 19 on the racetrack is Dylan Carrier. He's trying to roll back out onto the racetrack here now for Carrier. He will roll out. He is 1 lap down, but trying to stay just 1 lap down. Going multiple laps down is definitely going to hurt him and hurt his odds here this evening, and unfortunately looks like not the stop that he was really hoping for. And quickly see Grant Applegate starting to come into the picture here. Applegate's going to have all this speed and momentum down the back straightaway, and for the 31 at Carrier, he's just trying to stay there 1 lap down on the racetrack, as even right now, if the caution flag were to come out, he is currently not in that free pass position. He'd have to hope for a wave around here, as right now it is Ryan Haller in that free pass spot out there on the racetrack. Michael Ponder Jr. actually is going to go a lap down, as Applegate has caught him and moved around him, and now we see the 3 machine here, the AC Delco ride, now the first car 1 lap down on the racetrack. And unfortunately for Dylan Carrier, Ryan Haller, see that caution flag. They are no longer in that free pass spot out there on the racetrack. They will have to hope for the lucky dog, another caution flag, or hope to get the wave around and work themselves back onto the lead lap here this evening, as Applegate out in front, continuing to lead this race. Grant Applegate out in front, 7/10 of a second between himself and this NJB Designs number 80 ride of Kenneth Cheney. Jordan Hand there in third now, with Brian Underwood in fourth. You can see the 25 right of William Connolly to poke his nose into this battle here. He's looking to slide up inside the top 5 out there on the racetrack. And for Landon Burbage, he continues to slide farther and farther back, and he's still got a few more drivers right here looking to try to get around him. And for Burbage, he goes all the way from leading this race, starting up in position number 2. He's now back into 6 and quickly giving up a lot of points here of stage number 1, as we got a few more laps left to go here before stage number 1 goes into the history books here this afternoon. So for the 2 ride, he's just trying to hold on, hoping to try to keep this car from the right direction, as he's got a lot of fast cats trying to navigate their way back around him here, as Josh Kreider right there, Wyatt Mickelson, Jonathan Gaston, they're all looking to get around that 2 ride, knowing that that's an extra point potentially into their back pocket, as they are going to roll around that number 3 machine, as we did see some issues here. Noah Blackwell running into a problem. Let's take a look here. Blackwell in the 18 ride. Again, looks like another driver up into the outside fence, looses the handle, cops down through the grass, able to get back onto the racetrack here, and then goes back down through the grass again, just collecting some more grass and mowing the lawn here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Luckily enough, he's able to hang on to it, keep it rolling, keep it going the right direction. Doesn't look like too much damage there for him, and now we do see Ryan Haller back down pit side here. Heartbreaker for the 99 ride, as Haller was hoping for a great run here this evening into that Ford Mustang, and now for a second time down pit road before our race leaders even make a single pit stop here this evening. The 99 ride going to go another lap, and there'll be multiple laps down out there on the racetrack, as you do see Kenneth Cheney able to find a run here. Where did he come from? All of a sudden, Cheney jumps up, takes that race lead away from Applegate. Applegate slides back to second. Now that's a big loss for Grant, as that was going to be an extra bonus point into his back pocket to use to his advantage in this next round of the playoffs. And for the 57 ride, he'll settle into position number 2 as we start the completion. Actually, I do believe that was the completion of lap number 40. So lap number 40 coming to a close. That is the end of our first stage here this evening. Kenneth Cheney picking up the stage win. Applegate there in second. Jordan Hand, Brian Underwood, William Connolly, Josh Crider, Wyatt Mickelson, Jonathan Gaston, Landon Burbage, and Aiden Lucas all getting stage points right there. Unfortunately for Noah Blackwell, he's on the outside of stage points looking in. A couple of these other drivers, Farrell Robbins, no stage points there for the 76 ride. No stage points for Dylan Carrier, Danny White out there on the racetrack as we start to see more drivers head down pit road. Here comes Grant Applegate, William Connolly also down pit road. You see that 19 ride of James Efaw also down pit road in that beautiful NJB Designs Interstate Batteries machine down pit road here as more and more of these drivers unfortunately going a lap down out there on the racetrack, hoping to see this entire pit cycle kind of cycle through here and hoping to not see any caution flags where they would potentially be trapped a lap down or needing the wave rounds here to try to work themselves back into the show. As here you go, the 2-ride of Landon Burbage now going to head down pit road here himself. So this is where we're really going to start to see some of the pit strategy come into play here. A lot of drivers, we figured as soon as we kind of got over that first stage, they'd be making that left-hand turn, coming down pit road, just trying to break this race up into a couple different stages out there on the racetrack, knowing that we've been clean and green. We may stay clean and green here throughout the rest of this race until the end of stage number 2. So splitting the stages, putting those tires on just after lap number 40, you know exactly what to expect here in this final stage. So for a lot of these drivers, that's exactly what they're trying to do. And now we do see Josh Crider, Melvin Brangruer, Landon Burbage still down pit road, just rolling back out onto the racetrack here. And for a lot of these cats, if you can run a little longer here, you're going to pay the price early on, as drivers that have the fresh tires are going to be laying down wicked fast lap times. There you go, right there. You see the 19 ride just pull up and around the 80 ride, get a lap back here, and for Kenneth Cheney, nothing he can do except for hang on as the 19 down across the line, going to lay down a pretty solid lap time there. James Efaw last time around laid a 12, and that was with a pit stop, so we'll have to wait and see what the next lap is going to be as we see drivers like Grant Applegate right now running 32.22 second lap times out there on the racetrack. Those are blazing fast lap times compared to our race leader, Kenneth Cheney. Last time around ran a 34.13, and here he comes down pit road. Same with Underwood, Wyatt Mickelson, Benjamin Romano, Aiden Lucas, Jordan Crider, Noah Blackwell, Nathan Brookover, all down pit road. And Kenneth Cheney, Jordan Hand, they're going to head down pit side themselves. Jonathan Gaston, though, is going to stay out, so Gaston will consume this race lead as the Gaston's iRacing graphics number 72 ride now in front. Now he's got about 28 seconds between himself and Applegate, but Applegate last time around ran virtually 2.5 seconds quicker than this 72 ride, so you can't give up too much time out there on the racetrack, but having those better tires a few laps after everybody else coming down pit side could potentially move you a little farther forward here later in the run and maybe get him a bit better of a stage here this evening. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out for that 72 of Jonathan Gaston, as we do see Dylan Carrier. Carrier is back up inside the top 10 here as he battles with Danny White and the 2-ride of Landon Burbage. For Carrier, he's down pit road on lap number 32, so he's got quite a bit older tires than most of these drivers around him. Most of these other drivers came down pit road around lap 42, 43, 44, somewhere in that area, and for the number 31 ride, he's got 10 plus older tires than those guys, and they're just going to make quick and easy work of him, and he's going to continue to fall back through the field here once again. Now, luckily enough for this 31 machine, he was able to get the win at Daytona at the Super Speedway edition of Daytona. He doesn't have to stress about that. He doesn't have to stress about trying to get a good finish here tonight. He's already locked in to that second round of the playoffs. So being locked in, knowing you got that win, knowing that you don't have to worry about how this race goes, and obviously it's already going pretty rough for that 31 right after taking that outside fence a few times down the front straightaway here, and unfortunately getting some pretty solid right front damage and right rear damage to that 31. Even if he finishes dead last, he is still locked into the next round, and then we do see him get off that outside fence, able to keep it rolling though and keep it pointing in the right direction as we continue to battle. Applegate is able to jump out in front, so Applegate does have the race lead here once again, and now the gap is about 8 seconds. It's 7.6 seconds between himself and Kenneth Cheney. So Cheney has a big gap to try to close up here if he wants to try to win both these stages here today. And for Applegate, he came down pit road about 4 laps earlier, gained about 2 seconds a lap right there over that 80 ride, and that is the difference there, where he was able to leapfrog the 80 machine on the racetrack, plus gain a few extra seconds here. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out, how that, navigates into the end of the stage, as on that lap number 80, the completion of that lap will be the end of stage number 2, and that could be where we see our first caution flag out there on the racetrack, as we've been nothing but clean and green so far here this evening, and some just absolutely amazing racing here today. And down across the line, we will click off lap number 50 out there on the racetrack. So 50 laps down here in this race, 117 laps left to go, so still a lot of time, still a lot of laps to either move forward, fall backwards, or just trying to keep yourself out of trouble here this evening. And for the 57 ride, he's at the front of the field. He is just looking stout. He is looking fresh out there at the front of the field, and he's looking to try to stay there all race long. Fell back to second, though, did not win that first stage, and for Applegate, that's a big loss. Losing that stage, not being able to hang on and keep that 80 ride back there at bay. Not only did he give up that stage win, he also gave up that one valuable bonus point for the playoffs. That point that gets added into your account, basically, and you get to keep that all the way through each and every one of these rounds until that championship race. We have seen drivers make the next round and miss out on the next round of these playoffs by one single point in the past. So having that extra point in your back pocket could be the make or break difference between you advancing into the next round or unfortunately loading up your ride and joining the rest of the fans in the stands here for the playoffs. So for Applegate, definitely a heartbreaker not being able to win that first stage. And I do see Brian Carrier. What's good, Brian? Brian coming in, showing the love over there on YouTube. Brian says, let's go 31. Cheering on Dylan Carrier here this evening. Unfortunately for Carrier, he's on a bit of a different pit cycle after early contact into the outside fence for that Phoenix Esports number 31, and he finds himself now back in position number 12, and he's got about 10 lap older tires. He's looking to fall farther and farther behind the rest of his drivers, and definitely off the pace by quite a bit compared to the fresh tires out there on the racetrack. And for the 72 rider, Jonathan Gaston, he's up into 11th here. Now he is quite a ways away from our race. He's about 19 seconds back, but he does have the freshest tires over everyone else out there on the racetrack. He was the last driver during that pit cycle to come down pit road on lap number 46. So virtually he's got 5 lap better tires than a few of these drivers up at the front of the field in this race. Late in this stage could potentially drive up past them, gain himself some extra stage points, and that's exactly what he needs here this evening. Some great stage points and potentially a very solid finish to be able to put himself into the next round of our playoffs. As these drivers continue to battle, they continue to duke it out here. You do see that 57 right at Applegate. He's got the number 3 machine right there in front of him. That is that 3 ride. That is the machine here. That is Rollin Crider right there. Looks like Crider is actually going to drive right on around that 57 ride. Now he's got about 3 lap better tires, and you can see that difference right there as our race leader is going to fall behind this 3 ride. The 3 is going to get a lap back and race his way now to, I do believe, a couple laps down now for Jordan Crider. Is some issues out there for him, and unfortunately for Jordan, he is now a few laps down, but at least able to get another lap back, and potentially with some late race caution flags or with some wave arounds or anything else that he kind of has up his sleeve or that he can use for his advantage, potentially could race his way back on the lead lap still today. So not giving up one little bit out there on the Speedway, and now trying to pull away from our race leader and hoping that he can try to open up a little bit of a gap. as Brian Underwood slides up into second here in this one as Underwood in position number 2. It's William Connolly there in third. Jordan Hand back and forth as Kenneth Cheney, who we saw win stage number 1. He came out of the pits and probably right around the same area, but he's been a little bit off the pace here. A lot of these drivers around him still running in that 32-second area. He's kind of fell off the pace here, running more in towards that 33-second lap time. And for right now, he's falling farther and farther back. You see Landon Burbage just getting around him. Now the 5 rider, Josh Crider, getting around him here this evening. And we're going to continue to see them keep on battling out there as 9-2-4. 36 says, I think I'm rooting for 5. My friend told me about this pretty late, so I didn't actually know who he is. I think he is repping a Bad Dragon car, though. He is driving the Bad Dragon car. It's not the 5 ride of Josh Crider. It is the 18 of Noah Blackwell. Blackwell in that Bad Dragon number 18. He rolls there in the 13th position. This evening, there is your friend out there on the racetrack. That is that beautiful NJP designed number 18 ride of Noah Blackwell, as Blackwell continuing to battle, continue to look for a solid run and a good run here this evening, trying to advance himself into the next round of the playoffs as the Bad Dragon anime number 18 ride. I don't even know what Bad Dragon is. I don't even know if I want to Google it or try to figure out what Bad Dragon is, but nonetheless, the anime ride continuing to try to drive his way up and through the field. Is Bad Dragon, is it like an anime or something? Is it anime? I don't know what Bad Dragon is, or if it's a bad thing, a good thing. I don't know what it is, but he's rolling there in 13th. He's got that 9 ride of Benjamin Romano right there in front of him. It's Romano rolls in position number 12. But out in front, continuing to lead this race, it is that 57 rider. Grant Applegate is down across the line. We will complete lap number 60 here this evening. So 60 laps down. Only 20 laps left here in stage number 2. So we're halfway through our second stage here today. And at the end of lap number 80, we will see that mandatory caution flag fly. And for these drivers, that will be the first caution flag, the first yellow flag that they will see here this evening from Atlanta Motor Speedway. As Applegate out in front, continuing to show these drivers how to get it done. It's Brian Underwood up and into second here. Now Underwood did win our championship here in the Premium Stock Car Racing League last season, and for the 6th ride, being a part of the playoffs again, sitting in a great position where he's not really too stressed or worried about points. Should be able to just race his way into the next round here tonight, and doesn't have to worry too much about trying to earn any extra bonus points or anything else. And even if a driver that's outside of the playoff bubble picks up the win, he should still be a-okay. He's got a lot of gaps between himself and that elimination line here this evening, and I do believe just getting the starter points here today may have pretty much locked him into the next round as well. So for Underwood, he's got no stress out there. Same with Applegate. I do believe Jordan Hand, he's sitting pretty in the point standings here as well. So the 11 sitting there in third is right now, it's once again all Redemption Motorsports, that team at the front of the field leading this race. Is Applegate, Underwood, and Jordan Hand all a part of the same team. Their 4th teammate a little farther back, it is the 20 ride of Aiden Lucas. Now for Aiden, he was definitely off the pace, started deeper in this field, and unfortunately for the 20 ride, hasn't navigated too far or too quickly to the front of the field, but now up and into 7th. So he's starting to get there. He's starting to claw his way up into the contention here this evening and continuing to battle out there on the racetrack, trying to close that gap and trying to hunt down this number 5 ride of Josh Crider. Here we go, the battle for the race. Lead the 6th ride of Brian Underwood will take the top spot away from Applegate, as here comes Applegate back down pit road, and he locks him up. Maybe too fast entering pit road here for that number 57 ride. Oh, brother, that could have been a major mistake right there. That could potentially take him out of contention here this evening as the 57 heads down pit road. Now, Not sure if he's going to get tires here, if he's going to get fuel, or what the strategy is for the 57 ride. It seems like it's a little too early, but we'll have to wait and see if more drivers like to come down pit road with him. As there you go, he's going to get jacked up on the right side and going to get jacked up there on the left side. And he does get 4 fresh tires, gets that car filled with fuel, and looking to roll back out onto the racetrack after giving up all that time, getting passed by the 6th rider, Brian Underwood. Now he'll roll back out onto the racetrack with some very fresh equipment, but there it is. He does have a hold, and that is the major disadvantage to be one of those drivers coming down pit road here, trying to make that secondary pit stop here this evening during the green flag conditions. As you make those mistakes, you get a little too fast coming down pit road, and unfortunately for Applegate, he's found out the hard way, and he is still not able to leave that pit box after getting a penalty for too fast entering. And for Applegate, he's parked down there, finally able to get back onto the throttle, able to roll back out onto the racetrack here. But for Applegate, he does fall a couple laps down out there on the racetrack, and Brian Underwood not too far away from him here, but he does have the freshest laps, or freshest tires on the racetrack, and now he's really hoping that over the next 13, 14 laps that he can really use these fresh tires to his advantage and try to at least get himself back 1 lap advantage here, and at least 1 lap down out there on the racetrack. And we're hoping for everyone to have to come down pit road themselves here, but a lot of these drivers can't just stay on the racetrack, not come back down pit road. They can make it to the end here on fuel, so they don't have to make this secondary green flag pit stop in for Applegate. I'm not sure what the strategy call was there, but not what he had drawn up this evening, and now being a couple laps down, scored back in 18th. He's hoping to see everyone have to come down pit road at lap number 80, and him able to get the wave around at least to get himself 1 lap down out there on the racetrack. But for Brian Underwood, who continues to lead the way here, he's got just over 2 seconds between himself and Jordan Hand. Connolly there in 3rd, Landon Burbage up and into 4th. They're looking to get some solid stage points here in stage number 2. Josh Crider right there with him. Aiden Lucas back in position number 6 with Wyatt Mickelson there in 7th. Kenneth Cheney back in 8th with Danny White in the 72 with Jonathan Gaston, rounding out our top 10 out there on the racetrack. Gaston looking to get some good stage points here again this evening, as well as he's got a couple more drivers right in front of him that he would love to pass and be able to steal some extra stage points and trying to keep himself and his dreams alive to advance into the next round of our playoffs. As Brian Underwood out in front down the back straightaway, nice and easy. In to corner number 3. You see the flames coming out of that 6th ride. He's starting to check up, trying to get that car down the hill, down to the bottom side of the racetrack, back under the throttle now, down through the front straightaway and down across the line. He will click off lap number 70. Is 70 laps in here. Only 10 laps left to go in stage number 1 here this evening. About 97 laps left of racing action today. Still a lot of time, still more than double what we've already raced here this evening. So there's a ton of time, a ton of laps, and a ton of opportunities for drivers that have ran into problems to try to battle back and try to get back into contention here this evening. As we did see Dylan Carrier come down pit road as the 31 ride trying to roll back out onto the racetrack, going to build that speed back up. He did unfortunately go at least 1, potentially even 2 laps down out there on the speedways. Underwood catching up to him in a quick hurry. I think if Underwood does get back around him, that would put Dylan Carrier at least 2 laps down. As now Nathan Brookover, I believe he is in the free pass position here. The 76 of Pringle Robbins, last driver on the lead lap. Nathan Brookover is the first car 1 lap down. Jordan Crider, he's the second driver 8 lap down. Dylan Carrier now either 2 or 1 lap down out there on the speedway. Applegate a couple laps down there in 18th. James Efaw down a few laps. Same with Ryan Haller and Michael Ponder Jr. back there in that 3 ride. As Underwood out in front, though, continuing to click off these laps. He's still got about 2 seconds between himself and Jordan Hand, but Hand is closing that gap. He is reeling in and catching this number 6 ride here. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to have enough time or if he'll be able to get there early enough or quick enough to be able to take that stage win away from the 6th machine. I know both of these drivers, they're hoping to try to put themselves into a solid position here to be able to earn these stage points and potentially get that bonus point that comes with winning this stage. And for some of our playoff drivers like Underwood and Jordan Hand, how much that would mean to them. And Bones, what's good, Bones? Bones coming in says hello, folks. Hope everyone is having a great evening. So far, it has been a very good evening here in this race. A lot of good, hard racing action, a lot of fun out there on the Speedway here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And so far, no caution flags. We've been clean and green. We've seen a few drivers run into problems, find that outside fence out of corner number 4. Go through the grass, have some issues themselves, but no caution flags, and we've been non-stop flag racing here. The drop of the green flag, and we have now done at least 74 laps here. We're about 74 and a half laps down the back straightaway, but you do see that number 57 right at Applegate. Now he has those good fresh tires on that 57 right after coming down pit road, and after serving that pit road penalty, he went down a couple laps, but here he is quickly chasing down that 6 right, and you can just tell the difference between the tires right here as you see how quickly he catches up to our race leader, and just going to look to move right on and around Brian Underwood and at least put himself 1 lap down out there on the racetrack. So a great break there for the 57 of Applegate, as he is now at least 1 lap down, or at least got another lap back here this evening. Going to make his night that much easier here tonight, as I do believe, yeah, he's now 1 lap down out there on the racetrack, and that is definitely a good thing, as that could give you the wave around, get you back onto the lead lap here during the stage break, or potentially, you know, getting a lucky dog after a couple more caution flags could get you back onto the lead lap as well, and not having to give up on the pit strategies here this evening. So we'll have to wait and see how it kind of plays out there for that 57 ride here today, as he looks to rebound after getting that pit road speeding penalty. As Brian Underwood out in front, nice and easy down through corner number 3 and into corner number 4 here, back down across the start finish line. He'll click off lap number 76 and lap number 77 now coming to a close here. So 77 laps into this race. We only got about 3 laps left to go until we see the completion of lap number 80 here today. And 80 laps into this race, being close to that halfway marker for these drivers. They are definitely hoping for that little bit of a break, a little bit of a breather, able to either get some fuel and tires into their rides, try to take a little bit of a chill during this caution break, and hoping to get things rolling here in a quick hurry, and then hoping to just see things go clean and green for the rest of the evening. As Underwood out in front, Brian Underwood leads the way. Jordan Hand right there in second, though, quickly closing up to that 6 right. Underwood, he knows he's only got a couple laps left to go. He's just hoping to try to hang on and keep this race lead, hoping to get that extra playoff bonus point here this evening for the stage win for the 11 of Jordan Hand. He's hoping to jump up and steal it away from his teammate here this evening, as Jordan and Underwood, both a part of the Redemption Motorsports crew out there on the Speedway. And down through corner number 3 and out of 4 here, Underwood back down across the start finish line. Lap number 79 now complete here this evening. I do believe the stage will come to a close the next time around here for these drivers. So next lap around stage number 2 will come to a close, and we will see our first caution flag of the day at the completion of this next lap. So down across the line here for the 6th ride, we will see that yellow flag be displayed for the first time here this evening, as Brian Underwood picks up the stage win. Stage number 2 going to the 6th ride of Brian Underwood. Jordan Hand going to come home in second. William Connolly there in third. Aiden Lucas back and forth with Josh Crider, Landon Burbage, Wyatt Mickelson, Jonathan Gaston, Danny White, and Noah Blackwell going to round out our top 10, as there's Blackwell down across the line, and there is that caution flag. So our first caution flag of the day is at the completion and at the end of our second stage here this evening. So that's definitely going to open things up here for these drivers. That's definitely going to make things that much more interesting here today. So let's see if we can pull one of these drivers. See if we can pull our stage 2 winner up here into the booth real quick. Hey Brian, it's Aaron up here at Please Make a Broadcast.
Yeah, I got you.
Brian, brother, congrats on winning stage number 2 here this evening, man. So far, a pretty solid run. An extra bonus point into your back pocket for the playoffs here this year, and on your way to maybe trying to pick up a big checkered flag here at Atlanta.
Yeah, it's been a pretty solid race, just trying to save tires and be in the right spot. felt good there on the long run. I knew Gray had a few laps older on tires, I think I would call him, and been able to get the stage regardless. It's unfortunate for him, you know, he's be a lap down, but yeah, it's been good run so far.
So far, a very good run. A lot of great laps being laid down out there as we see our first caution flag here and our first yellow flag pit stop here, and a little bit of a breather for you guys, man. Take us back through that first 80 laps. How you feeling after that 80-lap run? And do you want to see another 80-lap run, or do you want to see it maybe broken up a little bit more to give yourself an opportunity to kind of get a little bit more of a relaxation in there, maybe get a little bit of fresh air into your lungs after the stressful 80 laps of racing you just had?
Yeah, definitely gonna want a long run all the way. Definitely suits my driving style a lot more. I'm more patient, and so definitely want a long run going here. I don't think we're gonna get it. I think we're gonna be all bunched up. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a couple incidents, hopefully, but get a long run towards the end.
Absolutely, but cautions always seem to breed cautions out there on the racetrack. Hopefully nothing at the front of the field or anything that's going to collect you, as you're going to be our race leader for the restart here this evening and looking to try to pick up the final stage win here in the checkered flag this afternoon. Brian, congrats on that stage 2 win, brother. Good luck for the rest of the evening, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth.
I hope so. Thank you.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our Stage 2 winner, that number 6 machine of Brian Underwood. Underwood able to pick up that second stage, as we'll get a quick word in here from our sponsors over at Prestige Enterprises.
Hey guys, my name is Harley with Prestige Enterprises. Not only are we a proud sponsor of the Powerhouse Motorsports, we're also proud to be one of the sponsors for Premier Stock Car Racing League. We provide our services to over 70% of the U.S. and we have a wide range of services, but our main focuses are custom homes, barn doors and shops, and commercial development. But it doesn't stop there. So pull out your phones and use this QR code on your screen to take a quick look at our website. We can't wait to make your dreams come true. Now that we have helped pay some bills, let's throw it back to you, Aaron.
Alrighty, so here we go. We got them stacked up 2 by 2 by 2, ready to go back to green flag racing here in this one. As we are halfway in, halfway to go as we roll down the back straightaway here this evening, halfway through this race, and we get virtually another 83.5 laps left to go. It'll be 83 laps left in this race down across the start-finish line. So for 83 laps, potentially the longest green flag run that we could see here today, if we keep it clean and green here and not see another caution flag get through on the racetrack. These drivers, they know what they got to do. They know what they can expect here. They just know that it's going to be a little bit longer by that 3 extra laps, and where we saw Jordan Hand hunting down that 6th ride late in the race. Potentially that could be the battle and the hunt for the front here late in this one. As here we go back to green flag racing as the 6th rider, a great restart, able to quickly try to open up a bit of a lead. Look out the 25 line, getting a little loose right there. Connolly washes up the racetrack as here comes Jordan Hand once again right to the back bumper here of his Redemption Motorsports teammate. And here comes Aiden Lucas. First time here today for the Trekker Boats Bass Pro Shops number 20 ride of Aiden Lucas to be up and inside the top 5. As he battles door-to-door with Josh Crider for position number 4. Now they're going to go a little bit of 3 wide down across the line as Connolly almost got consumed right there by the 20 and that 5 machine. And now here comes Landon Perfect looking to try to move his way back up inside the top 5 as he works down low underneath of Crider and everyone else rolling around the racetrack as everyone kind of broken up a little deeper in the field right there. Dylan Carrier, a lot of these guys losing a ton of pace down the back straightaway. No issues, no caution flag though. So let's take a look back and see if there was some sort of a slip up. There we go. There is some contact. Look out as the Bad Dragon number 18 ride. We get some contact right here. Carrier and 18 get tied together. 18 gets sideways on the racetrack. See Applegate right there down onto the apron. Everyone trying to keep on rocking and rolling. All these drivers rolling out of the throttle as they thought the caution flag was going to fly. They thought the 18 ride was going to go all the way around and see that yellow flag be displayed here. But unfortunately for everyone that just slowed down, they lost all that track position. They lost a ton of time out there to our race leaders in the rest of the field here this evening. And for the 31 ride, a little bit of contact there, a little bit of damage for himself, for Noah Blackwell, a little bit of damage for that speed ride. He's burning up a little bit of those French tires there with that skid, but luckily enough, we keep it clean and green, and we keep on racing here this afternoon as some great racing up here towards the front of the field. Underwood continuing to hold these drivers back there at bay as he's out in front, but right there behind him, Landon Burbage trying to slide into position number 2 again here this evening. Connolly there to his outside. They battled side by side back down into corner number 1 with Jordan Hand there in 4th. Eden Lucas inside the top 5 in that 5th position. Josh Crider back in 6th as that Robert Up Productions number 5 ride in that 6th position as Wyatt Mickelson, Kenneth Cheney, Farrell Robbins, and Jonathan Gaskin round out our top 10 out there on the racetrack. Some absolutely insane racing here this evening. These drivers continue to put on a show. They continue to battle hard out there on the speedway, and each and every one of them looking to try to put themselves up and into victory lane. But it's not going to come without some adversity or some triumph out there on the racetrack. It's going to come down to potentially exactly what this 6th ride wanted. He told us there during that stage break, he's patient, he takes his time. He wants that long green flag run, as that usually tends to be the best case scenario for this 6th ride. And right now you can see that he's able to keep pace, keep that race lead during this restart. But there's a lot of drivers that have been moving up towards his back bumper. One of those being Landon Burbage quickly right here to the back end of that 6th ride. And for Landon, he'll look to try to move around. Can he take that race lead back away to 25 up? William Conley, he's right there as well, as some drivers going to be a little bit more patient here, trying to save those tires, trying to make sure they have a stronger car later in the run. Other drivers are a little bit more frisky and risky and using those tires up, burning those tires up early in the run, trying to just race their way towards the front, trying to get that track position back that they had, or trying to earn some extra track position out there that could either work in their favor or it could really hurt them later in this run here. I'm sure we're probably going to see these drivers run virtually another 40 laps or so out there on the racetrack. I think that's kind of what everyone's game plan is for the most part, is to kind of run 40 laps, another 40 laps, get those fresh tires every 40 laps, and you should be right around lap number 120 when we come back down pit side for the Shriners. And then it's going to be, 47 lap run. You could almost break that state jump again and come back down pit road at 40 laps into this race. Now even fresher tires there for the final 27. And I do believe these drivers started with 5 sets of tires here this evening. So with 5 sets of tires on your pit wall, these guys have virtually only used 2 sets already out there on the racetrack. So you got 3 sets here for the second half of this race that could really separate yourself here and could use them to your advantage here later in this run. If you can save that set or 2, a couple late race caution flags could open up the door for you to just drive your way right up to the front of the field and steal the win this evening. So we'll have to keep an eye on all these drivers, as we did see James Efa running into some problems here. The interstate batteries ride, not sure what happens here. Doesn't look like he finds the fence. It's normally what we see is, there he is. There's the contact into the fence, down through the grass, going for a hop, skip, and a jump here. Continuing to go for a hop, skip, and a jump down through the grass all the way into corner number 1 as he watches back up onto the racetrack. Heavy right front damage here. That tire definitely askew, pointing the wrong direction. Just trying to keep this car rolling as he gets it down pit road the next time around here. And man, that is a heavy hit there for that interstate battery NJB Designs number 19 machine here this evening. And unfortunately his night has been pretty rough. He is multiple laps down back there, at least I believe 3 or 4 laps down, maybe even 5 laps down now, as our race leaders are going to roll down and around him as he's still down on pit road, and he may be down there for an extended period of time trying to get that car repaired. As Underwood out in front, Underwood continuing to lead the way. Landon Burbage there in second, Connolly right there in position number 3 with and Kenneth Cheney, Eden Lucas, Josh Crider, Wyatt Mickelson, Farrell Robbins there in 9th, and the 72 Jonathan Gaskin in position number 10. Noah Blackwell there in 11th, with Benjamin Romano there in 12th. Danny White in 13th, with Nathan Brookover back in 14th here. And then we see Grant Applegate. Applegate is currently the first driver 1 lap down. He rolls right here in this battle with the drivers that are currently set in position number 8, 9, 10. There on the racetrack, he's got a right in the mix there with that inside the top 10 competitors here this evening. And now for him, after getting that pit road speeding penalty, trying to use that, pit strategy here early in this race in down pit road for a second time on lap number 66, lap 67, somewhere in that area. Unfortunately, getting that pit road speeding penalty, went multiple laps down, was able to get one back out on the racetrack, and now trying to just navigate his way through here, hoping to keep himself one lap down, get that lucky dunk, and get himself back on the lead lap. There's no golden flags. This 57 ride could have all, unfortunately, took himself out of this race with that penalty down on pit road. Zeros right now down and around the number 20 ride. That is Aiden Lucas, our 6th place driver. So you can still see that amazing speed out of the 57 ride of Applegate. But how much has he given up? Trying to race his way back up towards the front here and hoping to maybe try to just race his way back onto the lead lap. We'll have to wait and see if he can just race his way back to being on the lead lap here this evening. But these guys continue to roll the front of the field. They're taking it a little bit easier, not burning up their equipment for that 57 ride. He's been burning up those tires, making some big moves, sliding around the racetrack, making advances. And here he is back in 15th, and you see Melvin Brankler a lap down with him on the 1 lap down out there, 2 laps down for Michael Ponder Jr., a couple laps down there for Ryan Haller and Dylan Carrier in that 31 machine. James Efaw still parked down pit road, unfortunately scored all the way back in 20th, and for Jordan Crider, looks like he's already taken that 3 ride down and out of this race. So tough break there for Jordan Crider here in this one, as Jordan unfortunately came down pit road just after we went back to green flag racing, and unfortunately for the number 3 machine, not the run that he was hoping for here today. Is out in front, Brian Underwood down and across the line here. He will click off lap number 100. So 100 laps are complete here this evening. 67 laps of racing action left to go here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. And for that 6th ride of Underwood, looking to try to lead all 67 laps back down to the checkered flag, but all these drivers back behind him looking to knock him out of this top spot, looking to try to take this race lead away. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, with just over 60 laps left to go here in this race, we are going to jump into our Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So crank up that volume, cheer on your favorite drivers as we crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for all these drivers. A beautiful crank it up session here from Atlanta Motor Speedways. There's the battle for the race lead and a little bit of contact right there between teammates Jordan Hand and Brian Underwood. But quickly, you see the 80 rider Kenneth Cheney right into the battle here. Cheney right there looking to try to make the move to take this race lead away from that 11 ride of Jordan Hand, as we see Brian Underwood and Landon Burbage both head down pit road. Noah Blackwell also headed down pit side there in the back, dragging number 18 ride. Farrell Robbins in that beautiful Winston number 76 machine. The Old Dogs Racing ride heads down pit road here himself. So green flag pit stops back underway here this afternoon as Dylan Carrier up in the chat over there on YouTube says, my race is over. Oh no, brother Dylan, that is never good news. That is a tough one for you, brother, but luckily enough, doesn't have to worry about the points. He's already locked into the next round of the playoffs, so if he wasn't locked in, it would have been a whole lot worse. It could have potentially made him no longer a part of our playoffs here this evening, but luckily enough, he is still in contention as you see Kenneth Cheney continuing to lead the way. A lot of other drivers just came down pit road, including Josh Crider and Jordan Hand, Wyatt Mickelson, Gaston, Connolly, Danny White. A lot of these cats coming back down pit road here for their green flag pit stops. Now we'll see our race leader Kenneth Cheney head down pit road. Same with Aiden Lucas. So green flag pit stops in full swing and potentially going to see this kind of play all the way through as Brian Underwood looking to try to take over this race lead once again as Benjamin Romano. He'll also head down pit road from the third position. Here is Underwood, who is in that battle for the race lead. He is able to use that one lap better of a pit stop to cycle himself back to the front of the field here. He once again leads this race, has himself out in front and showing these drivers the way around here this evening. As Cryptic says, hey, I was locked in, we good. But being the defending winner here at Atlanta, this isn't the result I was looking for. Yeah, definitely a tough one, brother. Obviously had a fast car, using that car up early in the race, driving yourself from outside the top 10 up inside the top 5 there before you found that outside fence. And right from that point on, it was definitely going to be a tough one. And for drivers that have those simple mistakes, like yourself, getting into the fence, going a lap down early in this race. Even for a driver like Applegate, who led so many laps early in this race, had such a fast car, making that additional pit stop before the end of stage number 2. And that pit road speeding penalty, unfortunately, put him, 2 laps down. He was able to race his way to 1 lap down out there, and he currently, I do believe, he was sitting in that free pass position, but I think that free pass spot is now going to go to the 8 ride of Nathan Brookover, and for Applegate, he's 10 seconds back behind that 8 ride, and the more and more drivers that Underwood puts a lap down out there on the speedway, the farther and farther back in a way this 57 ride will be from potentially getting back onto the lead lap. And if we don't see a caution flag here throughout the rest of this race, he is going to stay a lap down here, and unfortunately he will not be in contention to run for some wins and run for the win, and potentially in a race that he had the best car and best opportunity to win this race. It's kind of gone out the window there with that one simple mistake out there on the speedway, that one penalty down pit road, and it could cost him here his opportunity to get a good run or even just get a win here this afternoon. As Brian Underwood out in front continues to lead the way here. That 8 rider broke over 1 lap down back behind him in position number 8. Then a bit of a gap to that second place driver in the number 2 car is Landon Burbage. Burbage rolls there in second with Jordan Hand back in third. William Connolly there in fourth, and Kenneth Cheney in position number 5. Now we saw Kenneth Cheney come down pit road a couple laps later than our race leader. So the top 2 cats came down pit road in lap number 126. For Jordan Hand and William Connolly, they came down pit side on lap number 127. For Kenneth Cheney and Aiden Lucas, they came down pit road on lap 128. So that one lap difference here between some of these drivers. We'll have to wait and see late in this race what that produces and what that drives them to. They know that there's not a lot of laps left in this race. They know that when they came down pit road, there was virtually 40 laps left to go for them to try and put themselves into the winner's circle here this evening. And knowing that this is the final run, now we started this race with 5 sets of tires behind pit wall here. Now they've used up, I'm going to say 3 of them. On lap number 40-ish, they came down pit road and got those fresh tires. Lap number 80, they came down pit road and got those tires. And now lap 125, 126 in that area here, just before lap 130, they came back down pit road. So they've used up virtually 3 sets of those tires. Now each of these drivers should have, 1 or 2 sets still down behind pit wall and available for them if those late race caution flags start to fly. They can take some of those gambles. If you're already deeper in the field and you're sitting back in 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, hey, you come down pit road, you throw those fresh tires on, and you drive right around those guys at the front of the field. But I think after probably, I'm going to say 10, 15 laps of green flag racing on this set of tires, everybody, if the caution flag were to come out, is going to come down pit side. But if we see another late race caution flag, potentially some of these guys will try to stay out, try to gamble here, know that they don't want to give up that track position. And a bunch of guys back behind them could come down pit road, even with the 2 or 3 lap better tires, could potentially make a huge difference here and could potentially drive yourself up and through the field and into a better finish than where you're sitting. So that strategy is still up for grabs here late in this race. But as we continue to just click off these laps, we continue to run clean and green out there on the speedway. We've only seen the 1 caution flag, not for incident, out there on the racetrack. Stage number 2. And the completion there was our only stage break here this evening, and it was the only caution flag that we have seen here this evening. Now, for a lot of these drivers, that's great news. That's great racing, great battling out there on the speedway. But for other drivers, it's definitely not what they wanted to see, especially after having those early mistakes. For drivers like Grant Applegate and Nathan Brookover, if the yellow flag were to come out right now, he'd get that lucky dog and back onto the lead lap. But for drivers like Applegate, still going to be stuck a lap down. Wyatt Mickelson, Jonathan Gaston now would be a lap down as well. Melvin Brangor also a couple laps down back here in position number 16 with Ryan Haller, Michael Ponder Jr. there in 18th. Dylan Carrier, he's taken his car down and off the racetrack here, and I do believe Ponder Jr. is also taking his car down and off the racetrack as well. So we started with 21 drivers. Looks like we're down to about 17 still rolling out there on the speedway. Ryan Haller is the farthest back out there on the racetrack is Ponder Jr., Dylan Carrier, James Efa, and Jordan Crider. All loaded up their rides and joined the fans in the stands here this evening, watching the rest of this race from their pit box or from their hauler here this evening. And right now, Ryan Haller, he's trying to just keep on rolling, keep on learning, keep on figuring out this racetrack and that race car and open for better results next year. But each and every one of these races, all this seat time, continue to make this 99 ride better and better week after week. As right now, this number 6 of Brian Underwood has been out in front for a lot of laps here this evening. Once we saw that issue for Applegate, the 6th ride can seem the rank's lead, and he really hasn't given up since that point, since he got around that 57 of Applegate. Applegate having those issues down pit road there around lap number 66. This 6th ride has just been a man on a mission, continues to lead the way, continues to lead these laps, hasn't really given up that race lead except for Pit Cycles out there, and for other drivers back behind them, they are all trying to figure out a way to jump up here and beat that number 6 ride here this afternoon. As the laps continue to click down, lap 140 is off the board, so we have 27 laps of racing action left here this evening. 27 laps left to duke it out here today. And for each and every one of these drivers, they know that time is running out, and they know that potentially some strategy could be playing late in this race. I think even if we go down to 10 laps, 5 laps left to go, even if it's a green, white, checkered finish with a late race caution flag, we're going to see every one of these guys come down pit road. You can't stay out there. The tire fall off is too extravagant. You can't wait here. Already just in this run. Since drivers were down pit road on lap 126, we've seen over a second of tire fall off for these drivers. So having the older tires definitely affects you, definitely hurts you. And if you're giving up a second or two out there on the racetrack, it's going to be very, very crazy. As Brian Carrier says, get him next week, Bubba. Get him next week, he says. As Cryptic says, I'm going to pop open my bottle of whiskey and enjoy the rest of my night. Well, Dylan, drink responsibly, brother. Drink responsibly. Don't do anything crazy, but enjoy yourself. Enjoy that bottle of whiskey. What are you drinking, brother? What is it? What do you got? You got yourself a 12-year-old McKellen, or what do you got? What do you got? What do you got to drink? You had something crazy, something really fancy, or you just got a nice, good bottle of Jack Daniels or something, you know, a little 5-year barrel whiskey, something nice to kind of rinse down with a Coca-Cola or something, you know, on a Saturday night. That sounds pretty good to me. That sounds pretty good to me. As Underwood out in front, continue to lead the way, has just over a second between himself and his teammate Jordan Hand, but one of those drivers that came down pit road a lap after the 11 ride, and 2 laps after Brian Underwood is Kenneth Cheney, who's jumped up into third. Now we saw Cheney right there in the battle as Jordan Hand was making the move around Brian Underwood. Underwood then decided to come down pit road, and Kenneth Cheney was right there on their back bumper, and we saw Cheney able to make the move around the 11 right of Jordan Hand, take that race lead away before a couple laps later coming down pit road here himself. Now he's got the couple lap better tires, and he's going to look to try to use them to his advantage here as he try to race his way up and into victory lane in that beautiful NJBDesigns.com number 80 ride here this evening, looking to try to put it up into victory lane. Had a great run last week. Unfortunately, had an issue and then took that car right off the racetrack. Didn't stick with it, but here tonight, no problems for this 80 ride, and he has been a man on a mission here this evening, laying just some great lap times and having some great runs here. Seems like later in the stage, he continues to keep on driving farther and farther forward here this evening. As Brian Carey says, I'll drink a shot with you, Bubba. Says fireball for Dad, laughing loud. Baby, a fireball shot for Brian Carrier, brother. Fireball. Oh man, it's so good. It's so good. That makes me want to go buy a bottle tomorrow night. Oh baby. Oh man, fireball is such a blast, man. Oh, such a good drink, man. Such a good drink. As Lonnie Crider says, let's go. Good race here, man. Some very good racing. Only the one caution flag for the stage break at at the end of stage number 2. So virtually clean throughout this entire race. No real issues there for caution flags out there on the racetrack, and nothing but good hard racing. And for Brian Underwood, looking to try to put himself up into victory lane for Jordan Hand. He rolls there in second. Kenneth Cheney right there on his back bumper, and they're starting to reel in that 6th ride as Connolly back in 4th. Landon Burbage rolls there in position number 5, and now for Burbage, there's a lot on the line here. He missed the first race of these playoffs. He had his prom to go to. Man, that makes me feel old, as he had his prom to go to and missed the first race of the playoffs. And unfortunately for him, he has not found victory lane in the second race, and he is a few points outside of making it into the second round of our playoffs here this year. So hoping that the stage points that he was able to collect, hoping for a good finish here late in this race, and potentially being able to navigate his way into that second round of the playoffs with other drivers that were right there with him, potentially having some issues. Farrell Robbins, he's back in 11th. We see Applegate obviously back in 13th. I think Applegate was good on making it to the end here, but for Jonathan Gaston, he could be one of those drivers at risk of potentially missing the second round of the playoffs here after looked to be potentially a pit road speeding penalty there for the 72 ride as well, and all of a sudden he finds himself a lap down, scored all the way back in the 15th position after having a strong run, having a good car, earned some stage points up inside the top 10 for both of the stages, but for the 72 ride, it may not be enough, and it could come right down to the wire here, and we talked about at the top of the show, man, that 1 point difference could be the difference maker between advancing into that next round of the playoffs and having your playoff dreams come to an end here this evening. As Brian says, love my fireball, man. Who doesn't love a good shot of fireball? That will get the old heart pumping. That'll get you moving. That'll get you dancing on the dance floor in a quick Koreans. Dylan says, got a good bottle of Buffalo Trace Kentucky bourbon whiskey. Brother, I've never even heard of that, but I'm sure it's probably very, very good, and I'm slightly jealous. I'm slightly jealous. Any kind of a bourbon whiskey, man, always so smooth, so delicious. I'm right on board with that one, man. Send me a bottle. Send me a bottle, Dylan. Pour me a drink and send it up here. Just make it put it in a Gatorade bottle or something like that and send it up here. I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you, brother. Enjoy that. Hopefully it's nice and smooth and just sitting on the rocks and nice and chilled for you, and hopefully nothing but a good night of whiskey drinking for you after a hard night of racing action. Unfortunately coming to an early close, but party just getting a little started here for that number 31 this afternoon. As you do see Brian Underwood continue to hold on to this race lead. It's about a 1.2 second between himself and Jordan Hand, as Jordan Hand is sitting still in position number 2, and he's holding off this 80 rider Kenneth Cheney. Cheney's been right there on his back bumper trying to figure out a way to get back around this 11 ride. We'll have to wait and see if he can make that move and steal that second spot and try to hunt down our race leader. As Connolly there in 4th, he's trying to hunt them both down. Same with that 2 rider Landon Burbage. Landon knows that every single point is going to matter here if he wants to try to advance into the next round, and seeing a few of them through the windshield right now for that 2 ride. Definitely going to be in the back of his mind here. He knows late in this race, even if the car is struggling, he's got to put his foot in the throttle and try to gain as many points as possible to try to advance into the next round here this evening. As Cryptic says, it's around a $50 to $60 bottle, depending on where you find it. Nice vanilla on the start with a kick going down. It's good stuff. That sounds great, man. That sounds like some real good stuff right there. And trust me, man, a $50 or $60 bottle. Whew, brother. Now, is it a big bottle? What is it? Is it like a 40? Is it a 26er? You know, is it like that middle tier, like a liter, 2 liter kind of deal? How big is the bottle? Because man, 50 or 60 USD bottle of whiskey, you know, that's $80, $90 bottle up here in Canada, man. And that's a good bottle, brother. That's a good bottle right there. You're spending upwards of closer towards that $100 marker for a bottle of whiskey, man. That's definitely good stuff. Where most of our regular stuff, Jack Daniels and you know, things like that, Crown Royal even, are more towards that $30 area for a 26 here for, like, what is it, 950 mils or 750 mils. So yeah, see, so that's a real nice bottle right there, brother. That's virtually, double or triple, probably more or less triple what we would pay up here for just a bottle of, Jack Daniels or Wiser's or Crown Royal or something like that, or Southern Company, So that's pretty good, man. That's got to be some pretty good stuff. For the price of it, it's got to be very, very good. It's Underwood continue to lead the way. He's feeling very, very good. Still has that 1.2 second gap between himself and his teammate Jordan Hand. And Hand now starting to open up that gap here between himself and the 80 ride. Looks like Cheney may have burned his stuff up, trying to hunt these guys down a little bit too earlier. Maybe just try to play this cat and mouse game. Maybe trying to roll out of it, trying to save a little bit more, trying to go back after these guys later in this run. But time is starting to run out as across the line we were able to click off lap at number 156. And next time around, lap 157 will be off the board here. And that means we'll see 10 more laps left to go here, ladies and gentlemen. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, as nice and easy out of 4 and down across the line. Our final 10 laps of racing action here this evening with the Premium Stock Car Racing League. Biting a couple late race caution flags, biting a little bit of NASCAR overtime here this evening. Only 10 more circuits for these drivers to try to finish off this race. So the time is now to earn as many points as possible to try to get this good run and put yourself either up into victory lane or into a position where you can earn enough points to transfer through into the second round of the playoffs. For some drivers, it's easier said than done. Other drivers, it's been a struggle out there on the racetrack, but they continue to battle nonstop out there on the speedway. As Jordan Hand about 1 second back now of that 6 ride. So Jordan's starting to reel into the 6 machine. Underwood out in front, and he's seeing his teammates starting to hunt him down as Kenneth Cheney slides a little farther back here in that 3rd spot. You see William Connolly now trying to hold off the 20 ride of Aiden Lucas, as Aiden starting to race his way up through the top 5 after getting around Landon Burbage. Moves Burbage back to 6. Connolly now back into position number 5 as they still battle door to door here with a 20 ride looking bound to take position number 4 away from that 25 ride. But He's not going to give it up very easily. Gets a little piece of the outside fence right there. Unfortunately, has to roll out of the throttle, and that will allow the 20 ride to jump up and steal position number 4 away from the 25 ride. Connolly now trying to hang on to position number 5 as Landon Burbage works down to his inside here, and that little bit of contact may have cost him a couple spots out there on the racetrack as Burbage knows that he wants to get a great run, a strong run here this evening, and getting that one extra point could be the difference maker between transferring into the second round of the playoffs or being out of the playoffs here this evening. So we're going to go right down to the nitty-gritty as out in front and making the move, putting the 99 rider Ryan Holler another lap down and putting a little bit of traffic in between himself and his teammate Jordan Hand. Unfortunately, though, it's not going to hold up Jordan Hand very long as he's going to slide right down low, make the pass around the 99 ride, and now he has nothing but clean track in front of him to hunt down Brian Underwood late in this race. And unfortunately for Underwood, the gap that he had built is all of a sudden it has disappeared. About 0.3 of a second back, you do see Hand right there in position number 2. He's railing in to the back bumper of our race leader in a quick hurry. And for Underwood, he just may be a sitting duck out there on the racetrack here. And for Jordan Hand, he may be able to make quick work of his teammate and steal this win away from him, but still having that Redemption Motorsports 1 and 2 after on the racetrack late in this race, feeling very strong. Aiden Lucas there in 4th here as he's been able to battle his way up and through the field, and right now up 11 positions from where he started. Looked like he was struggling early in this race, but just playing for that long-term G game here in this race. He's really put on the pressure and really started to work his way up and through the field. He's ran away from the 25 of Connolly and the 2 of Landon Burbage, and he's closing in and closing that gap on the 80 ride of Kenneth Cheney here. And if he can get around Cheney, could potentially make this a 1-2-3 finish. But door to door for the race lead. Here we go. It's a battle, and it's on like Donkey Kong here this evening is down across the line. Only 4 more laps left to go here in this race, and we are side by side. Door to door for the race lead. Jordan Hand looks to have the better car later in the run, but can he find enough to complete the pass as they almost make a little contact out of corner number 2? Underwood not going to give it up easily. He wants to keep this 11 right back there at bay. Jordan Hand, though, he would love to find himself up and in victory lane here today, but Underwood trying to do exactly what he did last year. Didn't really find victory lane until we got into our playoffs, and then all of a sudden, he just started to pick off the wins, transferring through into the next rounds, and putting himself into that championship final race, and all of a sudden winning that championship for that 6th ride, and he's looking to recreate that one more time here this afternoon as he's now in front, and once again trying to hunt him back down, trying to close that gap, knows that he's running out of time, but has to make a move quickly, and has to try to get around him. As Cryptic says, I'll take an extra 3 shots if Jordan wins. Baby! Oh, baby, that'd be fun to watch, that's for certain. Is down across the line, 2 more laps left here in this one. Now, all these drivers really want to see is that white flag fly. They do not want to see another caution flag displayed here this evening, even though we've only seen that 1 yellow flag. And here you go. And Jordan Hand closing that gap, maybe making it a 1-lap shootout here, seeing if he can size up this number 6 run and trying to make that last lap pass for the race lead. Is down in out of corner number 4. Back down across the start finish line. The white flag will be displayed here this evening in our first elimination race of the playoffs here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Premium Stock Car Racing League. It's a battle between Underwood and the 11 ride of Jordan Hand as they are door to door down the back straightaway. A big run for Jordan Hand, and down into corner number 3. It looks like he'll take that race lead away from the 6th ride, but quickly crossing back down low underneath the Jordan Hand, and maybe a little contact. No, he stays into the bumper, and Hand will make the move and steal this win away from Underwood. Jordan Hand is able to get it done and finds victory lane here this evening at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Underwood wrecking after the checkered flag after going down through the grass, trying to make that pass through the grass. Unfortunately, does not end up well for him. They're still wrecking down through quarter 1 and 2 as Brian Underwood comes home in second. Kenneth Cheney there in third, but it's Jordan Hand who's able to steal that win and make that last lap pass for the race lead and put himself up and into victory lane, and he is going to get ready to celebrate here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, man. This 11th ride in Jordan Hand, he's going to be pumped, finally getting another one here in this one as 9-2-4. 36 as Blackwell has gone up to 7th now. Yeah, Blackwell ended up finishing there in that 7th position lane, and Burbage back there in 6th. We'll have to wait and see if that's good enough for those drivers to try and put themselves into the next round of the playoffs here this evening. As Cryptic says, let's go! Cheering on Jordan Hand here this evening as Heyitskevcustoms says, not the race I wanted. Wyatt had top 10 speed but got wrecked by a lap car. Oh, brother, that's tough. That's tough, man. It was definitely a tough race, and that one simple incident, that one mistake out there, that one problem out there on the racetrack can take you from a good finish to out of this race in a quick hurry, as we only saw the one caution flag all evening long, and that caution flag was only for our stage break. So our stage break bringing out the only yellow flag here this evening. Other than that, we were clean and green racing here, so virtually a non-issue race all evening long, and no caution flags for incidences here this evening. Just paying tribute to how good and how strong these drivers are and how talented they are out there on the racetrack and the performances that they continue to put on for us here in the Premium Stock Car Racing League. As the 11 ride going to celebrate here, he burns down the house here at Atlanta Motor Speedway as Jordan Hand gets the job done, finds victory lane, and will get ready to jump up into the broadcast booth here with our top 3 finishers here, as we'll get ready to pull them up and into the broadcast booth in just a few more moments. We already got Brian Underwood sitting down there waiting patiently to get pulled up. We'll wait for our race winner Jordan Hand to get in there as well, and we'll pull Jordan up into the booth here for his post-race interview after a solid run, a great drive, and a solid performance all evening long out of that 11 machine. Can't wait to get him up here as we do see Applegate jump in there. Unfortunately for Applegate, his great race got ruined there by a simple mistake down pit road, and he finished all the way back in position number 12 here, a lap down this afternoon. As here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, our race winner, Jordan Hand. Hey, Jordan, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth to get a copy.
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Now watch Jordan, brother. Tank us back through this one, man, as you're able to finally find yourself up here in victory lane this year as you put that 11 ride up and into the top spot after making a crazy last lap pass for the race lead and stealing this win away from your teammate Brian Underwood. Man, take us back through this race and what's kind of going through your mind right now as you're able to celebrate down on the front straightaway.
Man, I'm just glad to win. I mean, it was a fun one. I can't lie. I want to thank Brian for racing clean. I had to be patient though, because I set him up the first time to pass him, and then I threw it away. I got to the gas too quick, and got a little loose and gave it back to him. Then I had to back off, let the tires kind of cool down for a second before going again. And then he kind of ended up doing the same thing. He ended up hitting the wall off of off of 2, and that was kind of it there. But man, what a race! I ain't gonna lie, that was a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. And anytime you can jump out there and just run the lights out here at Atlanta, man, when you have no issues, the only one caution flag there for the stage break, and just puts everything into your guys' hands. You guys are able to just race it out, duke it out, and, you know, use your strategy and the game plans here to your advantage, and here tonight, you're able to hit everything perfectly, and right there at the end, you know, I do believe you didn't lead very many laps here this evening, but you led the one that counted the most, and that's the final one. As you find victory lane, you park that 11 right back up here on the front straightaway. Take us back kind of through this race for you as we saw you, up battling inside the top 3, top 5 pretty much all evening long, but there were some great battles between yourself and Underwood, and obviously the 80 rider Kenneth Cheney and Connolly, Burbage, a lot of these fast cats all around you there, door to door for quite a few laps here this afternoon.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I had a lot of freaking battles all night. It seemed like I had some with Connolly and then Landon, and of course, Brian, and then there at the beginning of the race, Josh, I mean, he's a real live Ryan Newman, but he's a great driver, so I'm not gonna throw too much shade to him, but I don't know, man, I just felt, I just focused on long run. That was my biggest thing. Obviously everybody wants to hot lap and get the pole, but here at Atlanta, it's actually one track where the tires just fall off, so I feel like that kind of is my game, just saving tires, and Man, I knew when the troubles happened to Grant, I hate what happened to him, but I kind of felt like I had this one because, unless Brian just, choked it. But Brian was fast, but I feel like I was just a little bit better on the long runs. So I knew if I could stay close to him, I'd be all right. And, biggest thing was those green flag pit stops too, getting on and off pit road clean and, get going. I had Conley right on my rear, and then there for a moment at the end before I could get chase down Brian, I had Cheney right on my rear. He kind of got upset at me for, driving hard, but I don't know. I guess he expected me just to let him by, and I don't know. That was kind of silly, but I just kind of drove away. So I don't know. Other than that, man, it was a blast, though. Man, just had to stay focused and, just win the damn thing, right?
Absolutely, man, and you can't just be pulling over and giving up positions late in this race, especially up in the front of the field. If it was a battle back for 13th or 14th, I could see, okay, maybe give the guy the benefit of the doubt, got a little bit quicker of a car, maybe let him go by. But when you guys are right there battling for what could have been potentially the race win, because he could have jumped up there and hunted down Underwood and stole this win away from the 6th ride, and you could have been sitting back here in second. But instead, you hang on to that second position, you go after Underwood and steal this win away from him here with that last lap pass here and taking that win. But down through 3 and 4 after taking that big run down to the inside, you see the 6th ride cross you over, get down to your inside right there. He was right in position to maybe potentially give you that bump and run and keep himself in victory lane this afternoon, but looked like he thought better of that one.
Yeah, I'd like maybe it's because teammates, but I've known Brian for damn near, I don't know, 10 plus years now. So he's a really good clean driver, and like I said, plus we're teammates. And I got loose, and I could have hit him on that first run I had, like I don't know, 8-9 laps to go, and I raced him clean. I got out of the gas and let him go. So maybe that was just good karma. Hell, I don't know. We'll take it. But Brian's a hell of a racer, and he even said there he was doing too much mirror driving. And man, you just gotta get to their bumper, and this is we're not the pros, right? So somebody usually makes a mistake. So I'm thankful for it. But I think at the end of the day, we just want to make sure we lock ourselves into the next round. That was the biggest thing. And, we got a week off next week for Memorial. So nice to go out, and win before the break, and makes you feel good going into the next round, right?
Absolutely. Well, you'll be the last winner here for the series for a couple weeks, and definitely going to give you that extra bit of a boost and make your Memorial Day weekend that much better, as you'll know that you're the last driver to win here in the series. As Jordan, you park it up in victory lane here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You lock yourself into that second round of the playoffs here now, and man, take us, we want to thank for such a great run and strong performance out there on the racetrack.
I want to shout out all my teammates, Brian, Aiden, Grant. They're the best in the business. So honestly, if they're all probably better, well, not probably, they are. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. They're better than me, so it feels good to say I can, I beat them. You know what I mean? I like I said, I hate what happened to Grant, but we'll take what we can get, right? So a win's a win, and I want to thank my my wife. She let me hop on a little early to run a couple practice laps, before the race. So I want to shout her out. And just want to thank you for the great broadcast. Thank Brian and Josh for the great league and everybody that came out tonight. And yeah, man, let's go get them in the next race. I think we're going to Kentucky.
Absolutely, brother. Another mile-and-a-half racetrack and another opportunity for you to put this 11 right up in victory lane. Jordan, we can't wait to see you back out there, man. Congrats on the win here this evening. Enjoy your weekend off, and we'll see you back out here in 2 weeks' time.
Absolutely, brother. Take it easy.
You as well. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up to our race winner, Jordan Hand, as Jordan picks up the dub here this evening, putting himself up and into victory lane here this evening. As we'll have to wait and see if we can get our second place driver up here into the booth, as I don't see Brian in there anymore in the waiting room. So we'll wait and see if Underwood joins us here this evening. Now, we don't have Kenneth Cheney in the Discord right now, so I'm not sure if we'll get our third place driver in for post-race interviews or not, but we should be able to get our second place driver in here. I just cannot drag him out of the channel that he is in. So that lock channel, I can't drag him out of there. But once Brian does jump back up into the waiting room here, we'll get him up into the booth and we'll see what he has to say about this race and how this one kind of finished off, as I know it's going to be a bit of a gutter for that number 6 ride. I know Brian really wanted to find victory lane. He was so close to it, man. Half a lap away away from getting the job done here this evening after leading so many laps and having such a strong car all night long and being able to come home in position number 2. As much as it's good for points, as much as it's good for that number 6 ride to be able to transfer through into the next round of the playoffs, it still hurts losing these races. Michael Ponder Jr., what's good, Michael? Michael coming in, dropping that like on the stream. How are you, Mr. Ponder Jr. this afternoon, showing the love out there on the racetrack as we'll get ready to hopefully pull our second place driver in. There he is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for our second place driver, Brian Underwood. Hey, Brian, it's Aaron up here on the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Yeah, gotcha.
Ryan, man, we talked to you there at the end of stage number 2. You felt pretty confident, felt like you had a good opportunity to win this race, and you come up so close to pulling this one off. Unfortunately, your teammate Jordan Hand had to jump up there, make that last lap pass, and steal this win away from you, man. Take us back through that final run and what's going to go through your mind now as you sit down on the front straightaway.
Well, the great thing is it's not the last round. At the same time, the race is over and we go to the next round. So kind of start with a clean slate. Just trying to keep consistency up, but they're with that last, I don't know, 20 laps. Felt good with maintaining the gap. And he definitely had the better long run car, especially the last 15 of the run. And I cut the 1 lap car probably in an awkward spot. Gave up a little time on that. And then there on the last couple laps, just trying to make sure he can get a run to get on the high side, and try to make him work on the inside if he could get there. And felt good going into the last lap, and probably mirror watched a little too much. I thought he was a dive bomb in turn 1, so I wanted to take the bottom away there, and just flared the gas probably a little too much on exit and kind of handed the win to him. And I didn't have nothing to get under him. My tires were shot. So he executed just right on the last couple laps, and sucks to come up short, but I'd rather be a teammate than, somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever you can lose, at least to a teammate, at least it, takes away a little bit of that sting, but still coming up just 1 lap shy of finding victory lane yourself here this evening, man, is always a heartbreaker. And when you look back at how many laps you ran and how good this 6th ride was tonight and how close you were to getting it done here this evening, man, it's going to be a bit of a heartbreaker for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I led probably the most laps. I had, almost 100. So, just didn't execute. I'm not a person that really holds thing on my head, and you just kind of move on next race. In the end, it's just Saturday night with the guys and just having fun doing what we do, and just put our best foot forward going to the next round. And got a couple rounds to go, getting a lot of good drivers in here. A lot of drivers showed some speed today. This didn't have the right results, so you always got to keep your guard up and just keep consistent.
Absolutely, man. And take us back, kind of, what you're thinking right now as part of the admin group and everything else here with this series. Be able to jump out here at a pretty tricky racetrack like Atlanta Motor Speedway, a track that tires are such a major issue, and see virtually 0 caution flags out there for 167 laps, besides the stage break, which I'd say we can just eliminate that caution flag as a yellow and virtually running this race clean to green.
Yeah, I mean, you got all the drivers that showed up. We did have a few incidents that could have been avoided, but I mean, accidents might happen. Those would be looked at, but I mean, no cautions caused. That's a great race for everybody. Definitely a track that wears tires that usually brings some pretty good racing, which I think it did here. Besides being too tight to pass on 1 and 2, but I mean, I'm thankful everybody that showed up did really good. And actually, I think the playoffs is the last spot is close for a tie, or I can't remember how the situation goes, so it's be interesting to see who that final one that gets in.
Yeah, definitely going to be very, very interesting. I know there was a few drivers there right on the bubble, and some of those guys that were just above that cutoff line were, had some issues here tonight. When you look back at drivers like 72 of Jonathan Gaston, even for Farrell Robbins coming home just outside the top 10, and Landon Burbage, who was just on the outside there of a transfer spot, coming home in 6th and getting some pretty solid stage points. It's definitely going to be very, very tight, and we talked about it here throughout the show. That 1 point could be the difference maker in transferring to the next round or missing out on the rest of these playoffs, and that's the way it seems like it's going to play out here tonight for at least a couple of these drivers. And for yourself, getting that extra point, being able to win that stage here tonight at least, having at least another bonus point in your back pocket where it could potentially be that difference maker, in the next round or the third round, and trying to advance yourself back into that championship race.
Yeah. Definitely hope it doesn't come tight. I like how this round went. Had a cushion, didn't really have to push anything this week. So yeah, just look forward to we're off next week. It'll be the following week.
Following week, yeah, 2 weeks off. Well, 1 week off and 2 weeks away from our next race here. As Brian, you park it up in position number 2 here on the podium after a very solid run, a very good drive all night long in that 6 machine, man. Who would you like to thank for such a great performance out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, I got to thank all the guys on the track and and teammates. Me and Jordan worked pretty well this race, so thank him for racing me clean. He didn't do me dirty at all. And just, between sponsors, you putting on the broadcast, like I say every week, it's a collective effort, and without all the pieces coming together, it won't happen. So I thank everybody that shows up and competes and broadcasts and all the aspects of our league.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Brian, great run, great drive here this evening, man. We can't wait to see you back out on the racetrack in a couple weeks' time, and hopefully enjoy your week off and enjoy your long weekend there with Memorial Day next Saturday. Obviously, we won't be racing, and we'll see you back out there in 2 weeks' time and see if we can get you right back up here in the broadcast booth.
Yes, sir. We'll try.
Enjoy the rest of your night. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place driver, our second place finisher, Brian Underwood. Underwood coming home there in position number 2. Now, I don't see our third place driver out there in the Discord. So unfortunately, doesn't look like Kenneth Cheney is in here for us to pull him up and into the booth here for the post-race festivities here this afternoon. But we'll give a huge shout out there to Kenneth here this afternoon as that number 80 ride able to come home in position number 3. Looked to have a very strong car. Really seemed to have some good speed later in these runs as other tires were starting to fall off. His car was really coming to life and making those late run moves here. And for the 80 ride coming home inside the top 3, definitely a great finish, a great run for the 80 ride, a driver that we don't see out here on a weekly basis. And I'm sure he'd love to shout out his sponsors there as that paint scheme in that car being powered by the NJBDesigns.com and Noah Blackwell, those guys over there at NJB Designs, man, always making some absolutely amazing paint schemes and putting a lot of these paint schemes on a lot of these cars here on the series. And I'm sure Kenneth would love to shout them out. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, unfortunately, actually, is that Cheney there? Who is this one? It only shows a C. I don't know if that's Cheney or who that is. Oh, man, I don't know who that is. Now I'm trying to think of who that might be. It doesn't show me their full name, so I'm kind of not like wanting to pull them in because I don't know if that's Cheney or what or who that is. Oh no, chat. Oh gosh, who is that? That's a big question right there. I don't know who that is. All right, well, nonetheless, great run, great drive there for Kenneth. Great run by all these drivers, man. Only one caution flag out there on the racetrack. 4 incidences here this afternoon. So, man, that's a testament to show just how good and how talented these drivers are. The only caution flag was for a non-racing issue. It was the end of our second stage here this evening. So if we didn't take that stage break, it would have been clean and green racing for a full 167 laps of racing action here here today, man. These guys put on a heck of a show, heck of a run for us, and it came right down to the final lap. His short hand able to steal that win away from Brian Underwood. Underwood slides back to second. Cheney there in third. Aiden Lucas and William Connolly rounding out our top 5 here this evening. As the points are still being calculated, everyone trying to figure out where everyone stands in our points. Here is our first elimination race, and we'll get to know here in hopefully a little while about who is going to move on to our second round here in the
I've got that
Freedom
answer
Stock
for you
Car
if you
Racing
want it.
League Series. I do want it right here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Mr. Crider up in the chat with us here with the official, standings here and who advances into the second round here this afternoon.
I'd hate to give you a cliffhanger, but for sure the drivers that are advancing are Brian Underwood, Grant Applegate, Jordan Han, myself, Aiden Lucas, Dylan Carrier, Noah Blackwell. The officials are currently reviewing Landon Burbage and Farrell Robbins tied for the final cutoff spot. So we're going to go and review the rule book and have to make a decision on where we're at there. So I'm just giving full disclosure to all the drivers out there. Stay tuned in the Discord. Thank you to the audience who has stayed on board to listen to see if their favorite driver who they're rooting for at home made the next round. So we will go from there and let everybody know and let you know, Peacemaker, when that decision has been made. The crazy thing is we've got a tie for the playoff cutoff, and then Danny White was 1 point under. It was almost a 3-way tie, and 2 points below was Jonathan Gaston. It was almost a 4-way tie for the elimination. So thank you for all the viewers at home. Thank you, Peacemaker, and we'll get back to you.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we look forward to seeing you and all these drivers for the second round here in a couple weeks, and hopefully we'll see yourself, Crider, up here in Victory Lane here in a couple weeks' time.
Yeah, we're going home sweet home to Kentucky Speedway. I live right outside the track, so plan on bringing home a victory.
Absolutely, brother. We can't wait to see you then.
Thank you.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. So the official word is that there is a tie for that final playoff position to transfer through into that second round. We talked about it at the top of the show. We talked about it throughout this race. Is that 1 point, man? That 1 point is so vital, so important. That's, one better position, in one of these stages here tonight, or one better spot out there on the racetrack in our first 2 races of these playoffs. It's one, stage win bonus point throughout this season that could have made the difference here this afternoon on who transfers through to the second round or not. For Landon Burbage and for Farrell Robbins, man, it came right down to the wire here. And for Danny White, he came home in 8th here. Late in this race, got passed by Noah Blackwell. Danny White could have been a part of that. Could have been a 3-way tie for that final transfer spot. And for a driver like Jonathan Gaston, man, had such a good run going until a mistake down on pit road sent him back, and unfortunately down a lap. And for the 72 ride, who had ran up inside the top 10 for pretty much the entire day, finishing back in 15th, man, took him out of that final spot here this afternoon. So a heartbreaker there for Danny White, and a heartbreaker for Jonathan Gaston here this evening, as both those guys will miss out on the second round. But it's going to be interesting to see who gets that final spot. The admin crew, they're going to look through all the finishing positions of the first 2 races and see who's had the better finish, or what it may come down to be that tiebreaker between Landon Burbage and that 76 of Farrell Robbins here today. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and showing the love all evening long. Nothing but good, hard racing action here this evening, and we appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning in, and everyone coming in with the likes, the comments, the shares. I appreciate each and every single one of you, and we will see you guys back out here on the racetrack tomorrow for 2 more amazing races. And one of them, we're going to see a lot of these drivers in there. A lot of these drivers run our late night Sunday league, where we'll be back live green flag racing around 8 o'clock Eastern time. We'll see a lot of these guys like Aiden Lucas, like Underwood, maybe even Jordan Hand and Landon Burbage, Noah Blackwell. We've seen Josh Crider and so many of these other drivers be a part of that series tomorrow afternoon, and that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be interesting to see those guys back out there on the racetrack. But listen, I can't thank you guys enough. Can't thank you guys enough for tuning in, showing the love here this evening. All the likes, the comments, the shares. I appreciate every single one of you, and we'll see you guys back in here in the grandstands, cheering these drivers on tomorrow evening. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all later. Peace and love, baby. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey guys, my name is Harley with Prestige Enterprises. Not only are we a proud sponsor of the Powerhouse Motorsports, we're also proud to be one of the sponsors for Premier Stock Car Racing League. We provide our services to over 70% of the US, and we have a wide range of services, but our main focuses are custom homes, barn doors and shops, and commercial development. But it doesn't stop there. So pull out your phones and use this QR code on your screen to take a quick look at our website. We can't wait to make your dreams come true. Now that we have helped pay some bills, let's throw it back to you, Aaron.
Strapped in tight, ready, V8 symphony humming, tires screeching, engine screaming, speed demons coming. Gasoline guzzling, straight moving, track bruising, in the premium stock car, never losing. Pit crew wizards, quick as wizards, slick precision. Seconds matter, clock ticking, tight decisions. Trapped in close, slingshot ghost, high speed ballet, sipping victory, toasted champ, champagne spray. Fast lanes, checkered flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near. Grid start, hearts pound, seconds before eruption. Adrenaline and steel, the perfect conjunction. Lap after lap, sweat drips, eyes are fogging. Fame and glory wait for no one's dogging. Tunnel vision, apex hunting, blind to the herd. Opponents tailgating, pace firing absurd. Finally tuned monster, horsepower XL. Steering wheels grip like the gates to hell. Fast lanes, checkered flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near. Strapping, tight, ready, V8 symphony humming. Tires screeching, engine screaming, speed demons coming. Gasoline guzzling, straight moving, track bruising. In the premium stock car, never losing. Pit crew wizards, quick as wizards, slick precision. Seconds matter, clock ticking, tight decisions. Drafting close, slingshot ghost, high speed ballet. Sipping victory, toasted champ, champagne spray. Fast lanes, checkered flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathing, destiny's near. Hearts pound, seconds before eruption. Adrenaline and steel, the perfect conjunction. Lap after lap, sweat drips, visor fogging. Fame and glory wait for no one's dogging. Television, apex hunting, blind to the herd. Opponent's tailgating, pace firing absurd. Finally tuned monster, horsepower XL. Steering wheels grip like the gates to hell. Fast lanes, checkered flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engine soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathing,